Most change doesn't begin with a plan, but with discomfort. It starts in that moment that you realize something's wrong and you can't ignore it anymore. I'm Saskia Falcon. Welcome to The Odds in Our Favour, a News 24 Good News podcast, brought to you by Old Mutual Wealth, helping you grow, protect and preserve what matters. This is where we ask what happens when ordinary South Africans stop waiting for systems to work and start fixing what's broken themselves. When disaster strikes, most people wait for instructions, for permission, for someone else to act. But what happens when someone decides that waiting costs lives? Today I'm joined by Dr Imtiaz Sooliman, founder of Gift of the Givers, Africa's largest disaster response NGO. A man who has built a global humanitarian network grounded in a simple principle: humanity comes first. Dr. Sooliman, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for inviting me to your show.
Now, before Gift of the Givers became a globally recognized humanitarian organization, before the large-scale disaster responses, international missions, before the scale and the speed, I'd like you to take us back to where it all began. When you look back on your early life, what do you think shaped this sense of responsibility that you have towards others?
Well, there's multiple factors. One is the religion itself. The religion emphasizes that we got to serve people, that prayer, the purpose of prayer is not for personal development. It's for this, well, it is for personal development, but for the sake of an end. And the end is to serve people, to create consciousness in you. Then, of course, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was an example that whatever he said, he did. He showed compassion, love, kindness to women, to the orphans, to the needy, providing water, providing food, emphasizing that humanity and dignity comes first. It doesn't matter whether they have a belief system or not. A human should be treated as a human and should be dignified. And then in my own hometown, I was born in Potchefstroom. It was a sense of community, that if a child was out of line, the parent would tell the other parent, my child is your child, sort him out, And there was an understanding that there was community parenting. And that's why kids were very straight in line in those times. You can't do that today. Egos have overtaken everything. And if there was a funeral, everybody gets involved. Is the wedding, even if you're not involved, you come and help and you don't feel bad that you're not invited, because you can't invite the whole town to every wedding. When there's sports tournaments, there's no such thing as going to a restaurant to take your guest out. The guests are shared between different houses. So that spirit of humanity was there all the time. So I grew up in a town like that. We had a shop where 95% of our customers were black people. And they would come one day and tell my grandfather, you know what, we haven't paid your account, but we need food. And my grandfather would tell my father, their long-standing customer, their family before that, and the family before that, give them the food, we're not going to get paid. And somebody would come and say, I need some funeral money. And my grandfather would say the same thing. They won't pay the account, but funeral is an important thing, it's dignified, give them the money. If you don't get paid, it's fine. And my father and mother got separated. I moved to Durban. My mother started an employment bureau. And she said, the best thing you can do is find somebody a job. It's dignified. She emphasized the concept of dignity. And then she said, look, we don't have much, but if you can do one food parcel or two food parcels a month, but we must do it every month. So she started doing that. And, she said, find the poor people, seek them out, look for them. And we did that. And then, of course, came Gift of the Givers. Before that, I got involved in the governing body of my Model C school at that time. But it wasn't, it was still that time, government school before Model C schools. I got involved in the school, got the parents involved, upgraded the tennis courts, upgraded the swimming pool, did a whole lot of stuff in the school. And then I got in charge of 120 schools, governing body. And I was involved in that. And then I was involved in the high school affairs of the Muslim students. I got involved in the Islamic Medical Association. I used to give the talks at Friday in the mosque and during Ramadan, educating people on the values and a whole lot of different things. So that was the groundwork. And then, of course, came the spiritual teacher. And they've just changed everything. That's a discussion on its own. But when I connected with the teacher, I saw his humanity, I saw his compassion, I saw how people of different races, religions, colors, nationalities got together in a Muslim holy place, in a Sufi order. And there was so much of respect. It doesn't matter whether you believed in a book or didn't believe in a book. What you believed in didn't really matter. All that mattered was how humane you were, how you cared for people, how you did good things. And the emphasis was always on love. And that's the hallmark of what we do. That love has to come to the forefront. It doesn't really matter to us who you are, what your past is, where you come from. We just couldn't care less, to be honest.
So It seems like this bias for action and being in service to others is kind of hardwired into you. At what point then did you decide, okay, this actually needs to be organized and formalized, and then you decided we're going to launch Gift of the Givers? Because Gift of the Givers was founded in 1992.
Yes.
And since then, it's just responded to disasters, not just across South Africa, the continent, the world. It's gone floods, fires, war zones, famine. It's just become a beacon. When you decided, do you remember what that moment was?
Yes, it was when I got instruction that I met the teacher for the first time in 91. I fell in love with this man. In 92, 6 August, it's important to understand that concept. 6 August 92, Thursday night, 10 p.m. Thursday night is important to Muslims because our Friday starts at sunset the day before. We follow the lunar calendar. And at 10 p.m. after zikr, also important. A zikr is a celebration of God's names in Arabic. And you chant his names. In English, you'd say God, the one and only, kind, compassionate, merciful, eternal, absolute, cherisher, nourisher, sustainer. So it goes. So he did that. And to me, it's as if he got an instruction at that time. It doesn't seem that it was pre-planned. Because nobody came and told me, this is going to happen tonight. I was sitting in the corner of the room. He was doing the zikr. And he just stopped. He looked at me, looked heavenwards. It was as if he was getting the transmission and sending it to me. He said, in fluent Turkish. I don't speak a word of Turkish. But that day, I understood every single word in Turkish. He said, my son, I'm not asking you. I'm instructing you to form an organization. The name in Arabic will be Waqful Waqifin. We translated it. It's not exact. You can't find an exact translation. Gift of the Givers. You will serve all people of all races, all religions, all colors, all classes, all cultures, of any geographical location and of any political affiliation. But you will serve them unconditionally. You will expect nothing in return, not even a thank you. This is an instruction for you for the rest of your life. I was 30 years old. Serve people with love, kindness, compassion, and mercy, and remember the dignity of man is foremost. My son, remember that whatever you do is done through you and not by you. There is no place for ego. I asked him at some point, how come when you speak Turkish I understand, and other people speak Turkish I don't understand? He said, my son, when the hearts connect and the souls connect, the words become understandable. I said, what exactly are you asking me to do? I'm a doctor. I've got 3 practices in Pietermaritzburg and a place called Pietermaritzburg in South Africa. What exactly do you want me to do? He looked me in the eye and told me one line. You will know. I said, like, what kind of an answer is that? I will know what? And he said, you will know.
Gosh.
For 33 years, I do know what to do, how to do, what to touch, what not to touch. That same night, as I walked out, it came to me. You asked when was it formed? That same night, I came out, it came to me, respond to the civil war in Bosnia. The same month, my first project was not a soup kitchen or a feeding center. It was taking 32 containers of aid all alone, single, into a war zone. 3 months later in November, I took in 8 containers of aid. And the following year, he told me, my son, whatever you do, be the best at what you do. Not because of ego. We designed the world's first containerized mobile hospital. A world first, a product of South African engineering and South African technology. Not comparable, not built by any government in the north or anywhere else in the world. No agency. We did it. 28 state-of-the-art. Theater, X-ray, ICU, sterilization, burns unit, dental unit, pediatric unit, outpatient, orthopedics, casualty, with a bus, an ambulance, a generator, and 10 containers of backup supplies that if you need any support, the hospital can run with the diesel that we provided and the backup supplies for one whole year in a war zone without needing any outside support. CNN filmed it on the 1st of February 94 and said, the South African containerized mobile hospital is equal to any of the best hospitals in Europe. Incredible. And that was in 94.
How do you go from getting that message to being able to create that kind of impact in your first mission? Allies, supporters?
95% of what I know today, I learned on the first mission. Customs clearing, war zones, tribal warfare, diplomacy, fundraising, shipping, and just a whole lot. More important than that, the guys told me, you're building a hospital, take it into a war zone. What happens if it gets bombed? They think, my money is wasted. I said, I'm doing it anyway. They said, we're supporting it anyway. It's all about faith. It's all driven by faith. And remember, my initial donors are probably 99% Muslim. And we are driven by the charity concept that you give, and whether it's bombed or not bombed, the intention is that you gave, and after you get the blessing for it. Either way, it doesn't really matter, as long as you gave. So it's easy. And it's not something I got to ask for. It's a part of the religious law that you got to give. Otherwise, God is not interested in you. He's not interested in your prayer if you don't care for fellow human being. And the teacher did tell me, he said, my son, you will have a lot of challenges. But he said, you will never look for money. People will come to you from your country and from outside your country, from everywhere in the world. Not only for money, but they will also come to speak to you as assistance and guidance. We get them from all over the world. Everything he told me has happened and is happening. He said, a lot of things you won't understand now. It will happen later in life. And a lot of things are happening later in life right now, 33 years later. It's still happening. So yes, we just did it. And he said, you will know. And people, one day I went back to Potter's room, and a religious guy looked at me and he said, it's you, but it's not you. So I said, what the hell do you mean? What do you mean it's me, but it's not me? So he said, there's something different about you. It's a spiritual aspect. It's a confidence, a faith. When I do something, I know it's going to happen. I know when things are not going to go right. I know when things are going to happen. He said, you will know. When I need, let me give you a more practical example, okay? Makes it a little more philosophical, just too philosophical. I go to Syria and my teams have witnessed this too, by the way. They've experienced this, what I'm telling you, and all the things I talk about. 2012, I go into Syria. I can't find anybody. I'm about to walk out. I want a doctor. I can't find anybody who speaks English. I can't find a doctor. As I'm about to leave, somebody shouts, like in Arabic, there's the doctor. So the guy comes and I said, you're a doctor? I'm not sure you speak English or not. He says, yes. I said, oh, you speak English? He said, yes. I said, what do you do? I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon, but you know what, we do everything. I said, look, we want to help you, but we need a building that we can convert into a hospital. So he said, yes, I got the exact building for you.
Incredible.
He takes me down the road. He said, this building, it was supposed to be for a center for old people, but nobody came here. So I looked at it. I said, but this thing is too small. So he said, but you haven't started yet. I said, I'm gift of the givers. I'm telling you right now, this building is too small. Can we go upwards, sideways, backwards, forwards, and can I take the land across the road on the other side? He looked at me like I was crazy. So he said, yes, but I don't know, like what are you saying? So he said, okay, we need an engineer. Now, because that town just got liberated 10 days previously, and everybody suspect you come from outside, are you a spy or whatever, I came with my gift shirt. But because I was with Dr. Ahmed Gandoor, he was like a hero in the amount of lives he saved. So I said, okay, can't be too bad, he's with Ahmed. So walked into the building, a lot of curious onlookers came in. So one guy says, I'm sorry, but I overheard your conversation. So I said, you speak English too? He said, yes. He said, you said you need an engineer. I'm an engineer. So I said, okay, do you think we can go up this building, go upwards? He said, yes, 2 floors. So I said, my friend, where did you study? He said, what do you mean? I said, you didn't look at the architectural drawing. You didn't look at the steel structure. You didn't see the amount of concrete. You didn't see the amount of steel used. How can you tell me 2 floors? Or on what basis? He said, take it easy. I'm the guy that built this building.
Oh,
that is
incredible.
Not the funny part. That's not the funny part. The war started. 15 million people were displaced inside and outside Syria. This man left a city called Darkush several years ago. He never came back. The day I needed an engineer, not any engineer, the engineer that built this building, in that hour of that minute, he was in that building. This is how spirituality works.
Incredible. Okay, I want to go back to, one intervention. How do you go from that one intervention to building a model that can respond nationally and internationally with such agility? Is it also just walking in faith and things coming when they're meant to come?
No, that's irrational. The Prophet said, reason and sound logic is the root of my religion. Imagine not planning and things that will work. No, we got teams, search and rescue teams, medical equipment, medical supplies, shipping, planes, transport companies, packers, dealing with embassies, international relations. We build relationships across the country, across the continent, across the world. We have networks. We can phone anywhere in the world, anytime, and get things done. And the part that's the faith part is you travel anywhere. But the guy that you need is the guy that you meet. You're going to need him in 2 years' time. That's the faith part.
Gotcha.
The human part is you have to travel and make the connections, right? So this is not what's going to happen. So over years, all the team members say, I met this guy. He's from Poland. Maybe one day when we do need something, we got this guy from Poland. He's a medical guy or he's a guy in the government. Like a few months ago, the Kofi Annan's Fellowship, Global Leadership Program calls me. The guy said, we heard about you. We're from Africa. We got 44 countries in our group. We've heard about you guys. We want to talk to you and can you brief us? So they come to Marisburg. When I finished off with them, they had 17 countries represented. They said we can form a relationship. If ever you need to get into 44 countries in Africa, they all connected to government. They're all medical people. You need to do search and rescue. You need to medical. Tell me the country you need. 1 hour, I got connection in 44 countries.
Yeah.
But they came and found me. That's the spiritual part.
Gotcha.
The practical part is I met them and we got a contact list kind of stuff. So yes, we equipment over a period of time. The guy would phone, hey, there's a medical fair in Germany. Yeah, and the other. They got new specialized equipment. We don't need big machines anymore. It's portable. We can carry it in our hand. All the big stuff, let's donate it to the hospital. Let's rebuy equipment. I heard of the life locator available in America. Put it on the ground. In 3 minutes, it will tell you 10 meters under the ground who is alive. Who's alive, who's not breathing. Yes, we need that machine. We need to buy this. So we start stockpiling equipment. We start getting stuff. Company in South Africa calls you. We want to give you search and rescue equipment. We want to give you chains, this, that, and the other. Take what you want. Come choose what you want. Like small generators. Big generators, too complicated. Can you take 5 small ones? So we process medical teams, dog handlers, dogs, equipment, connections to airlines, know the airline managers. And let me give you another example. Logistics. I get called in November 2022 by my friend from Cape Town. And he said, would you like to meet the new general manager of Turkish Airlines? He's still here. And he's coming from San Francisco. So I said, yes, I'd like to meet him, but let the universe decide when. Because in terms of logistics, I need to know everybody. I need airline partners.
Right. So
in November, he calls me. I come to Cape Town in November several times. I don't see the guy. February 1st, I'm climbing up the steps of the aircraft in King Shaka. The voice talks to me, call him now. So I call him. He's here. We have supper at Surrey at the waterfront, Uppers 9. Come, Turkish tea, greet. Muhammad Sona Aiden, my friend, I'd like to have an airline partner. In the event an earthquake hits the country, I need to move search and rescue teams, dog handlers, dogs, medical teams, search and rescue equipment, medical equipment, tents, blankets, food, medicines, bottled water, diapers, sanitary pads, instantly, no bureaucracy, no red tape, no wasting my time, no delays, and you don't lose my stuff. He said, done. 5 days later, 6 February, 4:10 a.m., the earthquake hits his country. What's the chance of that being a coincidence? In 24 hours, the search and rescue teams are on. In 48 hours, the dogs are on. We were one of the 172 countries responded with 300 teams. We were one of the first in the world. And our dogs, we were the only team in the world that had 5 dogs. And Hatay, only 13 teams, 12 teams were selected to go to Hatay. We were one of 12 teams in the whole world selected to go to Hatay. And on day 8, exactly like in Haiti, on day 8, the dog said, you must go there. We found a 90-year-old grandmother alive. That doesn't happen without planning. It happens because I came to Cape Town, I met the guy, I made the arrangement. That's not fate. That's rational.
Wealth is about more than just numbers. It's about what you're shaping, your ambitions, your priorities, your legacy. That's why Old Mutual Wealth partners with skilled financial planners to bring the expertise of a leading wealth manager to your strategy. They help you make sense of both local and global opportunities, offering clear strategic insight so you can make confident decisions, whether you're building your wealth, protecting it, or shaping your financial future. Take your wealth further.
Now, Gift of the Givers operates across disaster response, hunger alleviation, water provision, healthcare, education, and human development at home. If you had to strip it all back, and if you would only able to address one crisis at its root, which of those would you be focused on for our country?
Health. Without a shadow of doubt. The world stopped because of COVID. You had all the money in the world, but you couldn't survive because there was no oxygen. You could go to the most expensive hospital in the country and you'll say, me, I'm a billionaire. I got like so much money in my account. Can I get some oxygen? You would think they're going to take the patient out of the bed who got only 50 grand in his account and say, okay, you can take his bed. He's 50 grand. We don't need him. You come inside here. It's never going to happen. You'll die outside the hospital with your billion rand. People flew to Dubai, to Mauritius, to Botswana, to Lesotho to get oxygen. And God, that was the leveling, the playing field that no matter how rich or poor you are, that God makes everybody equal. COVID made the whole world equal. It showed the weaknesses in the hospital. It showed 5 major things. First of all, you have to have very poor management, very poor maintenance, not adequate infrastructure, not enough personnel, and not enough equipment. Whether old or new or repaired, 5 critical things, it showed up in the hospitals. We were already short-staffed. We were already overworked. We already had less supplies before COVID came. And if you die, how much hours, how much years of experience is gone? How long is it going to take to train somebody like that again? What are our products? If you lose the top CEOs, the top managers, the top trainers, the top doctors, how many years and how much is it going to cost the country to bring that all back to normal? You have people who are productive, who are capable, but they got cataracts for 8 years. They can't see. They can't drive. It's a hell of a burden on the economy. So if you fix health, as they say, if you don't have health, you have nothing. You know, you can fix water systems if you have health. You can fix the country if you have health. You can have better crime-fighting capacity if you have health. So my focus from COVID then immediately moved to health in a big way. Infrastructure, supplying equipment. I got involved in so many hospitals. We started wiping cataract backlogs, orthopedic surgery, other kinds of surgery. People became so happy they could go back to work. And the emotional aspect of sitting in a hospital, like Kimberley Hospital called us, they said the guy is sitting in bed for 3 months. We don't have enough nursing staff. We don't have enough anesthetists. We can't do catch-up. They're lying here. The wife is not seeing the husband. The mother is not seeing the child. Emotionally, it's breaking them. It's causing family trauma. It's causing hardship. Can you guys help? I said, what do you want? We want a scrub nurse sister. We need an anesthetist and 1 or 2. We went in 1 weekend. We did 66 operations in 48 hours.
Sure.
We wiped out the entire backlog. That's kind of stuff. We'll be preparing something like that for Steve Biko on the 28th, 29th of March. But they got a problem with the theaters. They got a problem with some other stuff. So now we're doing the backup of sorting out the equipment and other kind of stuff so that when we go in, we want to do a private-public partnership. The hospital doctors, as well as outside doctors, hospital nurses, outside doctors, work together, camaraderie. We are South Africa. In this kind of topic, what you said in the beginning, the most important thing to remember is that we have to be patriots. You have to be patriots, that you don't complain. You'll say, I pay tax, I pay VAT, I pay this, that, and the other. Yes, you pay VAT, you pay tax, you pay fuel levy, you pay this, that, the other. But you need to understand that the taxes of 7.4 million people cannot look after 65 million people. It's impossible, especially that most of the people were disadvantaged pre-94. So as a human being, you do as you can. And a lot of towns are doing this. Let's cut the bridges, let's fix the pipes, let's fix the leaks. Let's do this. And people are saying, let's do it. Let's just get done with it. We are South African. The other important thing to remember, the country does not belong to the government. It's not their country. It's my country, your country, and the country of 65 million people. If it belongs to you, you're a patriot. You take ownership. You fix. You don't wait. You don't, complain. You just get it done because tomorrow your child, your grandchild, and your great-grandchild is going to benefit.
The doctors, the specialists that get involved and give of their time and their expertise, do you pay them? Do they volunteer?
No payment. But they're very clever. I must tell you what they do. Right? They lose hours, thousands of rands of giving up the private practice. They said, we didn't go to give. We received. People thanked us. People prayed for us. But more than anything else, our soul got enriched in what we did in the service to humanity. And then some of them very quietly, I said the crooks, they very quietly will put the cost of the plane fare, the hotel, and the food into my account without telling me. And one day I caught one or two of them, and I said, why did you do this? They said, with all the money in the world, we will never get the satisfaction and the experience that we got on this mission. They are the same ones. Put their hands up. I want to do this again and again. They come from expensive homes, expensive cars, expensive areas. They would lie in the street, shooting taking place, sewage smell next to you, nothing proper to eat, no proper taps, no proper ablution facilities. And they are the ones that said it's the best experience in the world, especially when you see the eyes of those women and those children, and you can see the gratitude and it touches your soul. They said that in our private practice, that we can't buy that.
Because there's something enriching in being in service to others.
Most certainly. It's, like, I don't lead the teams anymore. I mean, I'm the oldest guy in the organization, and I got much younger people. The succession planning. So the first time they went, they called, they said, what do you do? So I said, what do you mean, what do you do? You've been with me already? So I said, if it's your wife, your child, your father, what will you do? They never ever phoned me again. They knew exactly what to do. That's the first part. The second part is, it's a means of gratitude. Because to me, the fact that my family and my kids are not on the other side, it's my way of saying thank you. Thank you, I'm not on the other side. You see the suffering on the other side. And you can't just walk away from that. And that's why in Gift of the Givers, there's no such thing as compassion fatigue. There's no December holidays and Eid and Diwali and Christmas. When people are in trouble, we respond. When the floods came of April 22, they were doing Ramadan food parcels before that. They were exhausted. They were dead. The floods came. I said, you guys are burnt out. Take Sunday off. They said, okay. Go to the warehouse Sunday morning, all day. Like, what are you guys doing here? This one is phoning. They need water here. They need food there. They're stressed out there. We can't walk away. And they pulled the whole month in that stress state to get to people.
You also spoke earlier, and I want to come back to that, about Gift of the Givers operating across faiths, borders, across politics. How do you manage to keep humanity and dignity as that organizing principle?
You know what's the best part? We're an example to others. Because when we come, we go to such a mixed team. And the guys look at us, they look like, how? There's a Christian guy here, there's a Jewish guy here, there's a Hindu guy here, there's a Muslim guy here, and a black guy, a white guy. What's going on? In Somalia, I remember, one or two of the government ministers complained, who are these guys? They just walked to the airport, went straight into the crowd and started serving. So other guys got up. These are the kind of people that we want. Not people like you who want to get a backhand, who want to get money, who want to get corrupt. We need people like this. And we were loved by everybody. There's 110 different tribes. And everybody said, they hadn't asked who we belong to, where we from, what do we do. They just said, stand in the queue, and everybody come. In every country, especially where there's a war zone, where there's conflict, and they don't know who to trust. Either both sides are going to shoot you, or both sides are going to work with you. And eventually, every war zone that we go, all sides want to protect you, because you serve everybody equally.
Right.
And they see, and then, South Africa, the land of Mandela, all of you together now. And then they see Muslim, Christian, no religion, all working together. In Syria also, they asked me one day, they said, these people here, how many years you guys working together? I said, this team, they won't work together. Only a few of them. They told me you're lying. I said, what do you mean I'm lying? He said, it's impossible that you guys who haven't worked together can work like such machines, understand each other. I said, we're South African. We train in the same hospitals. We have the same mentality. We know how each other think. We come from a country where compassion and Ubuntu is part of our spirit. This is what we do. And they look at that and they say, if they can do it, why can't we do it? If they can do it, why can't we do it? We set a model. And the teacher said, now this is the faith path.
Yeah.
That the right people will come to you. Only people who have that kind of thinking come to us. You can be a highly skilled professor, but if you don't have the temperament to deal with other people, you're out. You can cause damage to my teams. But people from different groups come there wanting to work together, have the same love. Love is the overriding concept I told you in the beginning. And each one is a link to each other. They stand with each other. They support each other. It's just everything is about us as a team. We protect each other. We defend each other.
We know that poverty is a big issue in our country.
It's the number one issue in our country, not poverty, hunger.
Hunger.
It's the number one issue in our country.
Hunger. And we know that you guys do a lot of food parcels. Just give us a little bit of a picture of the scope and how it's grown, maybe, with the work that you do. You see this firsthand.
There's a combination of items here. It's feeding centers, it's food parcels. And what we've picked up in the last 2 to 3 years is coming from the sites of disasters, a fire, a flood, or a storm. Last year in Cape Town alone, we responded to 140 incidents of fire and storms. And for the last 2 years or 3 years now, when you go to the site, in the past, they'll ask you, where's the building kit? They want to rebuild. Now when you go, they ask you, where's the food? And all you got to do is watch the kids eat. And we watch the kids eat. We said, these kids are not hungry for 2 hours. These kids are starving. And then we said, okay, if the fire is on the left, but it's the same informal settlement, the problem must be on the right too. So go check on the other side also.
Yeah.
And we made a policy. You can be in the fire, in the flood, or out of the fire or out of the flood. But if you're in that area, you're probably all equally hungry. We used to feed for 3 days. It went to 7 days, 10 days, 15 days, 30 days, 2 days, 2 meals a day. In Amtata, with the floods of 10 June, we fed for 4 months, 3,500 people twice a day. We roll out food parcels regularly throughout the country. We got university students who are hungry. We give food parcels to university students, to communities. We give bulk food supplies to a school for the blind or for the deaf or for the old age center or for the physically and mentally challenged people, or to some old age home now the finances are not there. The people are hungry. So it's not a food parcel, but it's food for a whole month or 2 months for an entire group of people every day. Take Toselfear. Let's take a classical example. Toselfear during COVID. Somebody said, hey, phone gift of the givers. So the guy calls and said, look, we got about 70 people who come here twice a week. We can't afford more than that. But 95% unemployment. The game reserve is not working. The station didn't work out. Transit didn't work out. The banks have left. Supermarkets have closed. There's no medical facilities here. 95% no employment. We need a little more food. So we started giving a little more. 1,500 people a day. Adults started joining. More kids started joining. We did the medical intervention. And there's some TV company in Netherlands, every year they look for a different place. They picked up our name. They came to us. They loved the facility. They said, we'll give you a fully equipped soup kitchen, a building. Then they said they want to give ingredients. They came back, they gave ingredients. They marketed it on their television program. Euros came. So they funded the entire kitchen. Now they're funding the entire ingredients for the whole year. They heard of an old age home that needs help. They want to revamp the old age home and take over total support of the old age home. They gave a food parcel in Christmas for everybody. They gave school uniforms. They gave other stuff. We did the intervention. Those guys called. That's one example. Now we've taken care of the total hunger needs of the entire area. Let me give you 2 stories. A quick one. George, when the building fell, disaster management calls us. They call us. In the country, we get called first. Within 40 minutes, we were on site. Within 6 hours, I sent the dogs. They took out the first people alive. Now, when we went on site, we said we need our own space. So somebody gave us a container. 2 hours later, somebody will come and say, we need safety boots. 2 hours before that, somebody brought the safety boots. Somebody will say we need a particular type of mask. 30 minutes before that, the mask is there. So this has happened to us so many times in so many different places where we find the items come in advance before we actually do the things. Like now, I was telling you the second story. I was in my warehouse today, and I started making food parcels. I said, what is this for? They said, did you see the SARS report? Laingsburg is the poorest community in the whole of the Western Cape. The last 2 weeks, all the stuff has been coming in the warehouse. We are busy making food parcels. We're going to deliver 1,000 food parcels to Laingsburg. We've already been there. We met the community leaders. They said, before you come here, Makiesfontein also needs help. We helped Makiesfontein and, the other areas with fodder. As an aside, from 2017 up to today, we've helped the farmers in the Northern Cape, Southern Cape, and part of Eastern Cape with 400 million rand worth of support for fodder and for the sheep and bowls and this kind of stuff and food parcels. So they said, okay, we got Makiesfontein. Then somebody said, what about Graafrenet, Prince Alfred, Albertina, Janssenville? We said, okay, 2 weeks later, we got enough stuff here. We'll take it to that side. So God sends the stuff and then we deliver. Combination of faith and thinking.
It's been decades of this work, Dr. Sooliman, and you show no signs of slowing down. What sustains this drive in you?
The blessings that you get, the soul feels uplifted. You just feel great, doing this all the time. I'm driven by passion. I can't stop because we don't ask for thanks. The teacher said, don't ask for the thanks. And I don't want the thanks because people then feel obligated. It defeats the purpose of what you're doing. I even tell people, I can't explain to you, but how do I tell a blind man how beautiful the tree looks? How can I tell a man who got no taste how beautiful honey tastes or whatever? So I can't tell you how the soul feels unless you do it yourself. So I tell people, go give some charity, but do it with pure intention. Do it and walk away.
What's next for you?
It's no planning. People ask me, what planning? I know planning. It comes. Did I know COVID was coming? Did we know you could have xenophobia? Did we know we could have all other crazy things that are happening? Did we know the drought is going to kill so many animals? No. The rationale of being ready, yes. Our state of response is so great. In 2019, cyclone Idai, we were in Mozambique, Malawi, Zimbabwe, and Devon at the same time. Level 9 warning in Amtata last year came the floodscape. We set in 5 search and rescue teams. We had the helicopters, we had the cars, we had the personnel. We fed 3,500 people every day for 4 months. We upgraded, we put generators to run the whole hospital. We put generators in the clinics. We had water tankers. The water mafia took the risk of threatening my staff. I went live on TV. I said, I am coming for you. 3 days later, the special forces killed 6 of them. No more water mafia, wiped out.
And you could go about your work in peace.
Yes, I'm not afraid of anybody. Nice now, we've been saving the town. We brought the dam level up from our 12 or 13% to 32%. No water mafia, anybody has come to us. They don't interfere with us.
Dr. Sooliman, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. Your journey reminds us that sometimes leadership is simply refusing to look away and being ready to respond. Through decades of service, you've shown that humanity is not a slogan. It's a decision, it's a discipline, it's a commitment to act, even when systems stall. And for listeners, this episode isn't about disaster relief. It's actually about recognizing that compassion, when it's organized and mobilized, positively affects lives. To learn more or to support the work, please visit giftofthegivers.org. Most South Africans have stopped waiting for politicians and government departments to do what they're meant to do, which is basically their jobs. So the real question is this: do we keep lamenting our bad luck and broken systems, or do we step in and do what our communities need us to do? Thank you for listening to The Odds in Our Favour. I'm Saskia Falcon, and this News 24 Good News podcast was proudly brought to you by Old Mutual, helping you grow, protect, and preserve what matters most with investment strategies designed to support your legacy. Old Mutual Wealth is an authorized financial services provider.